Welcome to another Train Sim World 3 video. Shoes are out. We want the Arosa line timetable. And I happen to have the anniversary collection. I'm going to just use this one here. And what I like to do is, I don't care for the dynamic weather. The dynamic weather is nice on occasion, but for most gameplay, I don't want it going through all the different seasons in an hour's time frame. I just want to choose my weather, and I also want it to be, let's go with September, mid-September, maybe a little later, and we're going to go with misty, but only with a little bit of cloud, a little bit of wind strength. And then let's choose our timetable. So we're going to go Arosa to Chur, and we're going to do the top of the mountain on down. And here we go. 105 tons, 5 cars. These are passenger cars. Let's get started. And unlock the right doors. Go through all the checklist here. Master key on. Train lights on. Headlights selected to 3. Rear mirrors on. And take the brake. Get the locomotive brake. And let's just take a look outside. I know our passengers are ready. We got kind of a clear sunny day. A little bit of haze. Lock the doors, and we're ready to do our 2.5 miles to our first stop. Clear off the locomotive brake. Oh, there's a car coming in. Wow, I didn't even catch him before. Interesting. Got so busy looking at things, I gotta put it in gear. Forward, and then here we go. Well, this is Gene Harm. Welcome to another Train Sim World 3 with the Arosa line. And my intention today, I like to go through the highlights and edit out a lot of time. And this time I'm going to go through the full timetable here. And it's going to take about an hour. And that way you can see going all the way down the mountain. Kind of going into overspeed. Got to bring it into brake mode. This steering wheel here is interesting. If you use it right, it'll kind of work like cruise control. You got to find your setting, and it'll keep the best it can. It will maintain your speed. As long as your grade stays the same, but once the grade changes, then you're best to make adjustments. So we don't need the HUD. Get rid of that. We have our kilometers per hour right there. We can keep an eye. We like to keep between 30 and 35. And here we go. Heading on down the mountain. Heading on down the mountain. This Arosa line has been one of my favorites. It's got a kind of a bad rap. It's another one of these routes that's fairly short. It's like, I don't know, 30 kilometers or less. And other things that are troublesome. It's got actually beautiful scenery, absolutely beautiful scenery, particularly around the rails and the close-up. But it gets interrupted, I guess, in a sense. The immersion gets popped out when you see the background mountain. Hey, we're in the Switzerland mountains, and gosh, this is absolutely fantastic as far as the views and the vistas. It's just beautiful. And then all of a sudden, to not take advantage of the background mountains and just get a beautiful view is kind of upsetting a lot of folks. So I was thinking about this, and one day I was thinking, boy, if you got these 3D modelers that are doing a fabulous job. They're putting a lot of detail in. Up close, you can get the finer stuff and the grass and the weeds and the flowers and that stuff. But that only pops in when you're in close. But once you get to any distance out, a mountainside, and all you have is 3D modeling, it kind of looks bare. It looks like cartoonish. It doesn't have all the color gradient that you would hope it would have. And then you have these 3D sticks kind of sticking out of it, and it just doesn't look right. It's kind of blunt and difficult, I would think, in a sense. But I was thinking, boy, if they just need some artists, to paint these mountains with more color gradient and more artistic, kind of like what you get in European Truck Simulator or American Truck Simulator. They don't have the 3D models in the background. They have an artistic two-dimensional painting that is beautiful. But I do love the fact that we do have three-dimensional stuff here in the painting world. But it's a matter of getting the right artist. But I was thinking, well, what the scenario editor doesn't let us paint our own stuff. It just doesn't. But is there things I can do with the lighting to change that? Timetable, time of day. It's worthwhile to think about it. And then it occurred to me, sure, you can change the weather and put a little haze on the mountains, and that would significantly take away from the abruptness of the trees coming out of a two-dimensional, not a two-dimensional, but trees coming out of kind of a bare bones mountain. And I think it works well. And I was looking at some photographs of this line, actual real photographs, and looked at the mountains in the distance. And typically, they look a lot like, I'm an American, look a lot like our southeastern range of mountains, the Appalachians. We have a section that we call the Smoky Mountains because, on a clear day you can see the mountains, but you may, in the mornings and stuff, you may have these puff clouds right in the middle of it all. And that's the same sort of thing I was noticing here in these mountains. There's no way to get that effect. There's no way for me to put like a setting. We can do a setting for sporadic clouds and increase and decrease it, but we can't lower it or raise the cloud in elevation. So it'd be fantastic if we could, because then I could put some clouds sporadically through the mountain, so that would really look fabulous, rather than kind of hazing them over like I'm doing. But this works, and I'm very pleased with the outcome of it. You know, for the most part, it works. Could it be better? Yeah, it could, but I love this. I love this route. I'm so pleased that I could run this route and be happy with it. Because what I was doing is I was running this route in the snow, and that takes care of and eliminates some of the bluntness of the background mountain too. You can run it in the snow and the sunshine at the same time. You get the beautiful looks and scenery from that. But it really restricted me to running it in the wintertime. But I'd love to be able to run it in the fall like I'm doing today, or in the summer or spring as well. But you get a lot of nice lighting here, even with being misty. By setting the cloud level way down to about a third, you know, and that's your own personal preference. If you want more clouds, you want to see less of the mountain, far off mountain, you certainly can do that. It would be awesome if I can kind of dial back on the mist. It's a little bit too hazy, you know, for my liking. However, if you want it to be even more hazy, instead of using mist, making it misty, you can make it foggy, and that certainly does even put in more of a cloud. But you can't see that far when you do that. Now we're coming to our first stop. And if you don't want to use the HUD, you can do that. Also, you get about 30 seconds before you're supposed to take off again. I do like to step out at this particular stop and take a look around. Take a look at what's going on and get a little view of the scenery. Get a nice view of my train. People coming and going. Yeah, so the mistiness is a little bit more than I would like. I would like it to be a little bit clearer. Too bad I couldn't dial it back and make it nice and clear for at least 100 yards or so. But, you know, how we doing on time? I'll put up the HUD. There's one thing you do need the HUD for, to see where we are on the time. Lock the doors. Release the local brake and give it a little bit. Give it a little bit of throttle. And we're off. I don't try to get too excited about keeping to the timetable. Some of you may be a little bit more up to that challenge and annoyed by that, but I just like to relax, enjoy myself. I end up usually being a minute or two late, you know, maybe 3 at the worst, but for some people that would just set them off, but for me, I'll take the heat from the passengers. miles an hour. We got a couple kilometers before our next stop. Supposed to be there in about 4 minutes. One thing I love about the Arosa line is this train set. You know, the passenger cars themselves, we hadn't really taken a close look at them, but you know, they're basic cars, but they're beautifully rendered. They're nicely done. And this locomotive, I love it. It's, you know, I love the steering wheel thing where you rotate it into brake or neutral or clockwise to get a little throttle. And so I just really enjoy driving these trains with the old style steering wheel or throttle. You know, and I'm not even sure what, you know, all these gauges mean. If I pay attention more to the air brakes and stuff, maybe I can figure that out. But you know, the challenge here is coming down a mountain, not letting it get away from you, and that's fairly easy to do. You just have to adjust your steering column here, which is really your throttle brake wheel. Here's our horn right there as well. Then we have these gauges over here. And then, actually, if you wanted to know when you open the doors, you have the clock right here if you didn't want to use the HUD for when you can close the doors after about 30 seconds. And just, you know, there's the... Not sure what that button does. Oh, I think that raises the pantograph. Yeah, I think that. Let me look. But that was down here. Yeah, I'm not sure what that does because that's all down here. Pantograph lower. What's that one do? Oh, standstill mode off. Huh. Turn it on, see what happens. Probably nothing in reality. So we're coming up on our next stop. 500 so meters. We'll find here, coming over the bridge as we level out, we don't want to have as much braking power. So I'm going to go with that. This is an incredible view up here on this bridge. Isn't that lovely? Oh, and we have people waiting on us. That's why we want to keep to our timetable. We can't go up the mountain until we get out of the way. Hey, they have one of those open passenger rides. Those are always fun. And then I always like to put the locomotive brake on, sometimes called the independent brake. So, unlock right here. People get on. See if we can take a peek inside. Nope. I think one of the modern trains, they let me do that. Maybe it was with the 8 key. I still got time. Nope, can't get in, but you can peek in there a little bit. We'll have to, that other train hasn't moved yet. Lock our doors. We're good to go. We are good to go. Get going. We're supposed to be at our next stop at 10:15. It's now 10:05. We got 4 kilometers to go. We got 10 minutes to get there. Let it get away from me there for a little bit. Got up to over 40 kilometers an hour. This is where it gets tricky. It's more of a roller coaster ride now because it goes from steep to leveling out and down steep again, and you know, it's more of a experiential type of thing, and then seat of your pants. Driving, because you're almost constantly on the wheel. You want to keep it. See, I'm slowing down. I got to give it a little throttle now, and then immediately come back, give it a little brake. So it's a little bit more intentional. Oh boy, did it fly away on me there too. So you notice as we level out in the grade, you lose your traction. You gotta roll that wheel around. think, because it takes so much attention in driving this steep grade downhill, it's one of the more enjoyable routes, I think, to run test journey wise. There's a handful of stops, yeah, but there's a lot of attention that you have to give to maintain the proper speed, not go over limit. In fact, I think at this next stop we're coming to, there's warning signals that I don't know if I'm supposed to hit the alerter or what the deal is, but a lot of times it shuts my train down. I haven't quite figured out what it wants me to do, because I've done a slow approach and it still would hit the alerter. Well, not there's the alerter, but you notice up on my dash, right where the windshield and the dash come together, looks like there's a phone there, and then there's 3 little LED lights. I think it's not LEDs for sure, it's regular light, but green, yellow, and red is what they are. They'll pop on. I think the yellow will pop on and want to do something, and then red. And I'm ignorant of what that means. So if that happens now, I think what I could do is I could pop this alerter. See if that's what it was. But we're maintaining pretty good speed right now, right? Run it between 30 and 35. Still got 1.5 kilometers to go. So this is a stop oftentimes, but not this time. This is one of those scenic stops too. You've got a tripod with the camera on it that flew by. Now let's see if we can go to the street. See, all of a sudden it just took a dive. Got under control. Give me a moment. So the more you do this route, the more you'll be ready for it, because you'll know, hey, when I hit that peak there, I gotta be on it. You can almost see how steep it's getting as it's winding its way down the mountain. Here we go. We got a yellow light here. Hit that. That seemed to work by hitting that alert in there. See what the HUD stop. Oh. Put the locomotive brake on. Alright. Take a look around. Free camp. Not a lot of foot traffic. Hey, you know what we can do? Let's get up. This may cause us to be late. I'll show you the inside of this. We got one guy here who wants to take a ride. This is what they look like. Okay, let's get going down the mountain. Ease up on the locomotive brake. Let's head on down. 3 kilometers now to our next stop. Out looking around and have my hand off the wheel. You know, I'm looking at that log cabin. I don't suppose it's supposed to call them cabins, I suppose. But and looking at it, thinking, yeah, it's well done. The 3D modeling is nice. The coloring is nice, but there's no artistic weathering of the wood, or you know, to bring out some of the detail of reality. Yeah, I almost feel as, besides having excellent model builders and 3D, you know, I don't know how to say it, but you know, 3D modelers, but modeling not just the trains and the train sets and the locomotives, but and not just 3D modeling of the world, but you know, some artists that can bring some more to the paint, more to the palette, let's say, to touch the eye, bring some reality. You know, I was always amazed. I've been amazed all my life with artists using different mediums. And even artists would do like the seashore and the ocean, the waves, with very broad strokes, and with the right amount of highlights could give very incredible impressions of, you know, reality. whether it's the waves breaking or the glitter of sunlight or leaves on a tree, and with thick oil paint pigment, and somehow as you stand back and look at the painting, it wow, letting us get way out of range here. Yeah, but I think probably one of the most examples everybody's familiar with is how crude and oil paint is with the painting of tree leaves, and yet with the right color and the right artist and the impression, as you stand back, it's like, whoa, what detail. And that's kind of missing, I think, a lot of times from these the gaming community and the gaming developers. They have really good modelers doing 3D models, a lot of good detail, but sometimes miss it on art. And if you have people who are good with textures, it makes a huge difference. But I think there's sometimes you get people who, through experience, learn how to do wonderful things with textures, but maybe aren't artists. Not everybody has that artistic expression. Be able to, with their mind, just put on a palette, put on whatever medium it is. Probably should shut up for a while and just let you guys enjoy the scenery going down the mountain. You may have noticed that as I'm going through the tunnel, there was a green light. Here's another one. And as I passed it, up on my dash, that green light came on. And, that's stuff I don't really know about. I'm not familiar with what that's all about. Okay, I'm supposed to stop. I don't like that point system. You notice how I brought up every time you touch something, it tells you, hey, you're wonderful. You just got a reward of so many points because you discovered how to touch that brake pedal. It's kind of silly in my mind. For people who want to rack up points, more competitive types, fine. But I know there's a way to turn it off, and I can't remember how to do it. I was in the settings the other day, and I just couldn't. I didn't want to spend 10 minutes trying to figure it out, so I got frustrated after 30 seconds because I couldn't remember how to turn off that point system. But yeah, sometime I'll turn it off because it's just not me. It's not the way I think. All right. We are ready to go. Just waiting on the signal. Can't help if you didn't want to get on. You want to go up the mountain. You know, we're waiting on the signal. Got the brake on. Good look at the mountainside. There's got to be a train coming. This is an interesting spot. We got mountain all around. Cheap. Here we are. Here's the train here. Coming around the mountainside. About time we're ahead of the game. So we're going to hang out here and just wait for this puppy to come through. And then we'll head on in for some of the most scenic areas and tunnels and rocks and down into town. Do some street running. You know, when it comes to passenger routes, this is one of my favorites. I love running this one up the mountain and down the mountain. It's a different challenge going up. It's fairly easy going up, to be honest with you. But, you know, you pretty much set that wheel on whatever speed you want and let it run all the way up and make your stop. A little bit more challenging going down, but once you get used to it, it's a piece of cake. I love the scenery. I think they did a fabulous job, with the exception of the, you know, far off mountains. And it's not that they're that terrible. It's just, I think there's an opportunity. We're talking about, you know, the mountains of Switzerland, how beautiful they are, and how much of a, you know, punch it would have gave this route to have that kind of a backdrop, really stand out. But it doesn't. But it doesn't take take away from my enjoyment of running this rail, making these stops. The close-up scenery is just fabulous, fantastic. Here she comes. We should be on our way shortly. Oh, I got the green already. Got the green, so let's get going. Okay, see ya. It is a camera with a tripod. This is a scenic spot for sure. I traded in my quiet keyboard for one of these clackety-clack ones. They are quite noisy, but I like it because the lettering on the keys are illuminated. So, you know, in a dark room you can read the letters, the keys. One of those must-haves when you're gaming in the dark. As dark as these tunnels are, and you complain about how Dovetail doesn't seem to get the headlights going through the tunnel just right. Yeah, and I agree. But then on the other hand, I was watching this route in real life where somebody had posted it, you know, on YouTube, and it was quite something to go through the tunnels. And you know, it's funny, they weren't. They really weren't lit up like you would think. As we're coming down, we got some more tunnels to go through. whole series of them. Snow shed, I think. We've got 4 kilometers to go. Oh, a lot of bumping going on here. Oops, another tunnel. Sometimes I get carried away with the camera views. Want to see all the different angles. almost felt like there should have been a waterfall. I don't know that there isn't any beautiful waterfalls. That would have been cool. I think it's funny how they put a tunnel underneath this rock. Guess it's a pretty tough rock to blast with. A little bit, with a few more blasts, and I think you would have just cleared it out. Yeah, a little tad slower in here. Keep it down at 25. see how late we are. Should be at 10:47. It's almost 10:47 now. I've always been fascinated by street running. This particular street, the cars run along with the train, and if that's the two-way areas, you know, they have to kind of wait on the train. Yeah, it's 10:47 now. And we're just about there. Definitely an interesting looking area. We're not that late, so won't worry too much about the timetable. Can use a few more people walking around. That's always been a criticism, but it's not particular to this route. I mean, yeah, it could be to some extent, but it's something we see a lot of the route. Not a lot of activity. Coming in this station, you gotta be careful too, because you got there's not a lot of leeway here with the red lamp. And there's a train right in front of us. Well, here we are. This is probably the last task. Loading passengers at this spot. Locking the doors. Well, that'll do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Did the full route for you. And we'll catch you next time.